Riccarton Junction.
Everybody. Today is day 3 of our little Scottish jaunt, and we are just leaving Saughtree Station B&B and heading for Riccarton Junction, what we believe to be the UK's second most remote disused station. Saughtree B&B, or Saughtree Station B&B.
It said Riccarton.
Riccarton. Did I?
You said Riccarton Junction.
Riccarton. Saughtree B&B, Saughtree Station B&B. What a complete and utter delight. Lovely people, lovely place. Hopefully, as you'll see from some of the images we've taken. But highly recommended if you are any kind of railway enthusiast. And such a history as well, which you can read all about because they've done an immense amount of history, and the whole of the restoration, the track. Ooh, squeaky gate. Let's close that. So the whole of the restoration of the station, the track, the engines, the trucks, the brake van, all done by Jeff, his family, Rob, Rachel, and a lot of various people along the way that have helped them restore the line. And the line, I think we said, was restored to exactly as it was when it was in use in the 40s and 50s, early 50s or thereabouts. So yeah, well worth a visit. Lovely people, lovely place. Onwards to Riccarton Junction. We think now, probably, do we say from where we are, 4 kilometres? So this is a 4 kilometre walk from where we stayed last night in Saughtree, maybe.
Yeah, bear in mind you said the other one was a 4k walk and it wasn't.
Yeah, it was 6.5. However, from the nearest road, which is a criteria for the most remote disused, from the nearest road, which I think Rob said was Still Road. Yes. So from that point, I think it's either 2 or 3 kilometres. We'll do all the maths later and we'll write it in, maybe at the start of the video or the description.
Yep.
And on the website. Woo, windy.
It is very windy.
If you haven't already checked out the website, it's paulwhitewick.co.uk. Extremely original. So, we asked a question yesterday, or in the last video that you may have seen, but yesterday, why those little huts were for and why there's one every sort of kilometre. So it turns out they're plate layers huts. So people that built the track didn't have any accommodation and it wasn't contracted that they had accommodation. However, they were allowed those huts, and that was part of the contract, wasn't it, to build those huts for them. So it doesn't quite add up to me, but maybe again someone could explain why they needed them every kilometre, why they couldn't just amalgamate in one big hole. That'll go down. Big hole. We're into the first cutting of the day now, so opportunity to waffle a quick bit without the wind or as much wind as there was a minute ago, presumably. So, Riccarton Junction, one of the most remote, disused, although there is somebody that apparently does live here, with a private road, so we're not including the private road as a road. So Riccarton Junction on the main line, the Waverley line between Edinburgh and Carlisle, possibly halfway along, maybe a little bit further south than halfway, and by its namesake a junction with the border counties line, where we've been staying down at Saughtree. I'll try and get a couple of pictures that I can insert to overlay of the junction itself, and one of the big questions for today was why was it such a massive junction? This is a single track branch line, obviously we're passing places, but a single track branch line, what we're on now, which is the Border County Railway. One line. Why such a huge junction with a mass complex? It seemed to have at least 3 platforms, lines coming in there, lines coming in from that angle. Why such a complex junction for what should really be a fairly simple affair? Was that something we don't know about, something we're missing? Obviously sidings, etc., but it looks a lot more complex than just a station with sidings. So please do fill us in the comments below as why Riccarton Junction was or looked quite complex and such a big site. Apparently at its peak it had 112 residents, including a school and obviously a half sensible infrastructure of houses. And in fact, I think one of the things we read yesterday in their history of Saughtree was when they closed Saughtree, the guy that used to work there as the station agent, he then worked at Riccarton, and he used to cycle along the trackbed to get to Riccarton. At this point, because we're in this cutting, getting a bit overgrown, hopefully it's not we could have the same problem. We may have to go up the embankment and walk along the top. Yeah. I'd hold on to that and hug that. You okay? Don't worry about the gate so much. I can do the gate from here down. You get round. Right, we've had to climb out of the cutting on account that it got way too boggy and there were some quite deep ravines. So we're now trekking along the top of the cutting. So when we go back, we'll try and go over the top if we can, if there's a navigable way. Ah, this is interesting. So we're out of that section and we're now looking like we're on, well, rain, we're looking like we're about to be on a big embankment. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we're obviously not quite where the station was yet, but this is massive embankment. I mean, a really big embankment. Doubt you'd be able to get quite the scale of the drop down there, but it's a long way down. They're both. Wow. And again, huge drop. I mean, a really big drop. And a beautiful little river. Do you think there's like a tunnel for the water to go underneath? Must be.
Oh yeah.
Like a purpose built.
Well. So when we need it, we just.
So we're right at the Border Counties line entrance to Riccarton Junction now. At least now we know.
I'm trying to look up as well. There's no head.
Right, so we're still a tiny bit south of the actual station, Riccarton Junction. That there is the Waverley line in from the south. So I'm guessing this is like a big supply of wood for the, say for the UK, for wherever, because There's obviously fast growing conifers perhaps. I've got a degree in environmental science, but I think I'm very good. I'm very clever at that sort of stuff. I think I was away the way they did sustainable plantations. I must have been off that day.
You've been away a lot, haven't you?
A little bit. So my understanding, because there was a website called something like Riccarton Station or something, and there was a group back in maybe the early 2000s called the Friends of Riccarton Station. And again, people will correct me if I'm wrong, but there was quite a falling out of said friends, and ultimately the group folded, but they were doing a real good job of trying to restore a station.
Used to be a building.
Yeah, I wonder if it was, they cleared it as part of this. So we've just read the signpost and obviously a little bit more history about the Friends of Riccarton. God, I can't. Riccarton Junction. That's a former generator building, and they used that, the Friends of, as a meeting point and a sort of a administrative centre and such. It's pretty much now fallen back into disrepair. Yeah, exactly. 10 years on, I guess. Right, so we're heading now to what we think was the bit where they restored part of the station and obviously the line that they put back in place. So that was Riccarton.
Fly.
That was Riccarton Station, Junction Station. And yeah, we're not really sure of the entire story of the Friends of Riccarton, but it looked like a really good project. And from pictures we've seen online, it looked like it was going well. Big building set up as the old generator house, part of the platform restored, a bit of track in there. Plans to do the track next to it and the other platform. I don't know, I'd love to know what the story is. We'd perhaps better do a bit more reading on the story so we educate ourselves before we make any comment or cast any sort of aspersions, if that's the right phrase.
Yeah.
I know, I think there's a heritage centre at Whitrope, although it's only open a day a week if that. I guess, is there a real call for heritage stations? Maybe if there's a line, maybe if they were able one day by a massive grant, I would imagine it to build a good section of the line back. You know, Saughtree done quite a bit himself. Jeff has done quite a bit himself. Maybe if there was a more emphasis from other landowners to give permission for it, then a little heritage line here would attract a lot more visitors, because invariably you need the money coming in to pay people to run it. It doesn't run off of anything, does it?
No, you got rain all over your lens now.
Yeah, sorry about the rain. So yeah, we're going to wrap it up.
Looking a bit blobby.
We are, yeah. But yeah, following off that, if you look at like some of the heritage lines down south, the Watercrest line is a great example. They get thousands of visitors in a week, you know, hundreds a day, and on their weekend days, hundreds for the door, and they're charging 50-60 quid a family. That's the kind of numbers you need to be able to maintain a line. It's very difficult, I should imagine, to do it any other way. Grants is one thing, but you need other source of income. You need continued income to be able to pay people to do a lot of the real work that needs doing, and therefore to make it safe and a viable project. You know. Right. Anyway, so we're going to wrap up here and make the trek back to Saughtree, and then we're heading a bit further north, I think, tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and all those things. And yeah, follow us on Twitter. I am, what am I, at Paul Whitewick? I got two, one's dead. There's P. Whitewick and Paul Whitewick. I'm pretty sure it's at Paul Whitewick. Oh my god, that's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter.
Link.
R. Whitewick, Paul Whitewick.